Problem with being smart is you think you've got time. It sounds like a compliment, being called smart, but that's where the trap begins. Smart people are the most likely to wait, to hesitate, to overthink. They're told, be strategic, think it through, play it safe. But thinking doesn't build. Over-planning doesn't create progress. Caution, disguised as wisdom, becomes a mask for fear. And so, the smartest people, they dream the biggest. They finish the least. You ever meet someone who's almost ready? I'm still researching. I just need to finish this course. I'll launch once I get it perfect. Sound familiar? Smart people often need every variable to be just right. But perfection is a myth, and delay is deadly. While they wait for clarity, the average ones, they act. While the smart ones strategize, the others execute. Guess who wins? The world doesn't reward what you know, it rewards what you do. Potential feels good, it's a compliment, a prophecy. You could be great. You've got so much talent. You're meant for more, and you believe it because it feels true. But that's the trap. Potential is seductive. It flatters you with possibility. It whispers, not yet, but soon. It gives you credit for things you haven't done, like an inheritance you never claim. It becomes a warm place to hide from the cold face of reality. You walk around with greatness still sealed inside you, wrapped in excuses, protected by procrastination, delayed by perfectionism, and buried under distractions. And while the world claps for what you could be, your actual life stays on pause.
Potential, untouched, is a velvet coffin. It doesn't scream at you. It doesn't demand anything. It just tucks you in with dreams unfulfilled and goals half-written. It lets you feel special, without doing anything special. You see, smart people love potential, because potential hasn't been tested. Potential hasn't been rejected. Potential hasn't failed. But here's the raw truth. Living in potential means never stepping into power. Because power requires risk. It demands action. It asks you to stop talking and start moving. It forces you to stop dreaming about who you could be and become someone real. The trap of someday. You tell yourself, I'm just waiting for the right moment. Once I finish this one thing, then I'll start. Next year, next month, after the holidays. But someday becomes never. Someday is a mirage, a stall button, a delay disguised as preparation. Meanwhile, your future is being auctioned off one excuse at a time. One not now, one later, one I'm still figuring it out. Until one day the curtain falls and you realize you never even took the stage.
Let's bust a lie. You will never be fully ready. No matter how smart, no matter how prepared, life moves too fast. There's no perfect timing, only now. You don't rise to your level of preparation. You rise to the level of your execution. Most smart people fail because they think readiness is the key. But success belongs to those who start messy and stay consistent. Being intelligent doesn't guarantee forward motion. In fact, the smartest minds can be the most trapped. They calculate every angle and never take the shot. They want certainty, but progress demands courage. Truth is, you won't always feel confident. You won't always have answers. You won't always know the outcome. But if you act, you learn. If you wait, you rot. Overthinking doesn't protect you. It robs you. It robs your energy, your time, your confidence. Smart people love to analyze. But after a point, analysis becomes avoidance. You're not being careful. You're procrastinating in disguise.
Here's the real question. What have you been overthinking for months that someone else just did and figured out along the way? Clarity is often found in motion, not before it. Brains alone won't build your dream. What you know means nothing without execution. The marketplace doesn't ask for IQ points. It rewards action, grit, and growth. You can have 10 degrees, speak 5 languages, and understand advanced algorithms. But if you don't show up daily with sweat and focus, you'll get outrun by someone hungrier, louder, and less qualified. Talent is potential. Discipline turns it into legacy. Here's a hard pill. Delaying your dream can be arrogance, not wisdom. Why? Because you assume the time will still be there tomorrow. You assume you'll have another shot. You assume your health, your fire, your mind will all stay intact. But life doesn't owe you time. Life can flip in an instant, and most people realize that far too late. What if you're not waiting because you're smart? What if you're just scared and calling it strategy? I'm still learning. Sounds noble, right? But let's be honest. Learning can become a shield. You sign up for one more course. You read another book. You binge podcast after podcast. But you never apply. And suddenly, you're full of ideas, empty on action. Learning is useful only when it's a gateway to doing. Don't let education become your comfort zone. Every day you don't act, you pay. Not in money, not in effort, in missed momentum. You lose the habit of consistency, the muscle of courage, the spark of belief. Smart people often don't feel the pain immediately. But over time, the cost compounds. Regret, resentment, rust. You won't always see what you're missing until it's no longer reachable. So start while it still matters, while you still matter. Being clever doesn't mean you're courageous. In fact, many brilliant minds live in quiet fear. They calculate every step. They map out every outcome, but still they never leap. Why? Because fear doesn't care how smart you are. Fear demands boldness, not brilliance. And until you're willing to act without knowing everything, you'll keep circling the same safe corners. Brilliant, but bound.
High performers often have one major problem: too many doors. So what do? They stand still, waiting for certainty, wanting to be sure before they commit. But life doesn't reward the most prepared. It rewards the most decisive. Pick a path, close a door, burn a boat if you have to. Options are blessings, but commitment is power. Let's call it what it is. You're not waiting to perfect it. You're waiting to feel safe. And that moment, it never comes. Perfectionism isn't excellence. It's fear in a tuxedo. The book never gets published. The business never gets launched. The video never gets posted. Why? Because you're addicted to control and allergic to feedback. But greatness isn't polished, it's published. You've been busy, emails, meetings, messages, stuff. But are you building something? Or just running in circles so fast you mistake movement for meaning? Smart people can hide behind productivity. It feels like progress, but it's distraction in disguise. Every task that doesn't move your mission forward is just noise wearing a name tag. Silence the noise. Build something that matters. You've hit goals. You've made money. You've impressed people. So why does it still feel hollow? Because success without soul is just a shinier cage. You climbed a ladder, but did you check if it was leaning against the right wall? Smart people often chase what they can achieve, not what they should pursue. Fulfillment isn't found in winning. It's found in alignment, when your effort echoes your purpose. Meet Daniel, top of his class, Ivy League, landed a 6-figure job before graduation. On paper, a dream life. But by 28, he was done. Not retired, not rich, just done. Burned out. Number lost in a sea of meetings, metrics, and meaningless praise. He wasn't lacking opportunity. He was drowning in it, because being smart isn't protection from burnout. In fact, it's often the cause. Daniel lived to impress, not to express, and it cost him his health, his joy, and his sense of direction. Sarah had a gift. She could write words that made people feel seen, heard, alive. She'd draft blogs, poems, journal entries, but she never shared them, never published, never let the world in. Not yet, she'd say. When I'm ready. Then life happened. Kids, job, bills, time vanished. One day, sitting in traffic at 49, she looked over and said aloud to herself, "I never even tried." Smart, talented, but silenced by waiting for perfect timing. Regret doesn't arrive loud. It creeps in with the quiet things you never did. You know that guy? Sharp, quick, always right. He dominates conversations, solves problems, impresses everyone. But years go by, and he's still stuck in the same spot, same office, same pay, same life. Why? Because he knows everything except how to move. Smart isn't success, execution is. There's always someone less qualified, less impressive, less articulate. Who's winning? Because while you were overthinking, they were doing. Here's something no one talks about. Intelligence can make connection harder. You dissect motives, you analyze tone, you assume, overthink, withdraw. You become hard to reach, even by those who love you. And eventually people stop trying, not because they don't care, but because loving someone who's always in their head feels lonely. Emotional intelligence isn't about knowing, it's about feeling. Let go of being right and just be real. You're planning again. Whiteboards, spreadsheets, color-coded calendars. You know every method, every hack, every next best step. But have you noticed? You're still stuck because overthinking feels productive, but it's a thief dressed in logic. It steals time, momentum, energy, opportunity, and all while convincing you it's being careful. Here's a truth that hurts. Your need to understand everything is the exact thing stopping you from experiencing anything. Action beats analysis every time.
Have you ever caught yourself saying, "I'll start when I figure it all out"? Here's the problem with that. You never figure it all out. Life doesn't wait for your perfect plan. The smartest people often stall the longest. Why? Because they want a blueprint before they take a step. But the truth? Clarity comes after movement, not before. The people making progress aren't the ones who know everything. They're the ones brave enough to go anyway. You don't need all the answers. You need one bold decision.
You read the books, you watch the podcasts, you reflect, analyze, and replay conversations like a movie editor. But guess what? Self-awareness without self-activation is a trap. Knowing why you're stuck isn't the same as doing something about it. Thinking about change doesn't equal growth. You've built a brilliant mind. Now build a bold life. Knowledge is only power when it's used. There's a unique kind of guilt no one talks about, wasted potential. You feel it when you lie in bed, restless. When you watch someone do what you know you could have done. When you hear applause and wish it was yours. That's not jealousy. That's buried capacity trying to rise. Your talent wasn't given to you to decorate your mind. It was meant to build your world. If you die full of unused gifts, the world loses. But more painfully, you do too. Maybe right now you're buried in a career that drains you. You tell yourself it's too late to change lanes. But let's be honest. Staying where you don't belong hurts more than trying something new. Every day you delay your pivot, you pay with time, peace, and purpose. You don't need to leap, but you do need to shift. Start learning, start moving, start saying no to what's draining you and yes to what you should have chased years ago. The road out isn't easy, but it exists, and it's closer than you think.
Let's close with this. Smart used to be your shield, your edge, your ticket to stability. But in this world, being smart without action is no longer protection. It's a prison. You're not waiting for the right time. You're just scared of the wrong outcome. But fear is a terrible leader. You've outgrown playing small. You've outgrown hiding behind your IQ. You've outgrown watching others live the life you were built for. So here's the truth. It's not your smarts that will save you. It's your courage. Stop analyzing your purpose. Live it. This is it. The fork in the road. You've heard the truth. Now you choose. Keep living on autopilot, or finally take control. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Today, right now. Because the grave doesn't wait for convenience, and wasted potential doesn't get recycled. So, here's what I want you to do before you scroll. Write down one dream you've been avoiding. Not 10, just one. Be brutally honest. The one that scares you most, that's the one. Break it into your next 3 small steps. Not goals, moves. What can you do today to start bleeding life into it? Make a promise to yourself. Out loud, right now. Say it. I will not die with this inside me. Because if you don't honor your gift, no one will. You were born full, diffun, of fire, brilliance, and potential. But none of it was meant to be buried. You're not here to just survive. You're here to create. Building impact, leave a mark. So don't coast. Don't wait. And whatever you do, don't leave your greatness inside your grave. Hit subscribe, because this is only the beginning. Share this with someone who needs to wake up, and drop in the comments, I refuse to die full. Say it like you mean it, because this world doesn't need more people playing it safe. It needs you, unleashed,